Are you ready to become an escape-reneur? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast, designed by brilliant women, especially for brilliant women who want to create the life of their dreams by escaping the 9 to 5.
Welcome to Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast, where we are helping women escape the 9 to 5. Amazing women escape the 9 to 5 to find the life that they truly love. And so I've got a treat for you. I have a guest here today, Naphtali Roberts, and she is giving us some really good information that will really help, because we're talking about being on purpose. Miss Naphtali, great to have you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yes, and Miss Roberts is a life and business coach and licensed marriage and family therapist. She is passionate about strategically supporting individuals and businesses on purpose their lives and businesses so they can feel free to connect and impact in the way they've always dreamed of but had forgotten was possible. Doesn't that sound so like everybody? That's beautifully written, because everybody can relate to that. Like, we've all forgotten how to really, really dream. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Naphtali, go ahead. Give us your juicy story. What brought you to this place?
So I'm sure so many of you guys started down my professional path. When I was younger, I started into the field of marriage and family therapy with this ideal that I was going to go out and I was going to change the world and I was going to impact everyone and everything. And I had this ideal that I was going to do it in a way that I could have the life and that I wanted. I could spend time with my family. I could be all sorts of things. And, in some ways, some of that was true. But in a lot of ways, what I realized is that I started to get into this busyness of life, this process of life where I was just doing things and I was doing things kind of just making the best of it. Mm-hmm. I was maybe not getting as much quality time with people. I was not feeling like I was actually impacting my clients in the way that I wanted to. And I started to see this major theme. So the therapy work that I do is with kids and teens. And I kept seeing this theme over and over and over again of overwhelmed, under impacting, and less than optimal connecting parents. And not people that wanted to be in that space, but that they felt like that was the sacrifice they had to make to have a steady and secure life. Mm-hmm. And so after seeing that pattern for years of doing therapy, I was just like, enough is enough. I want to find a way to help individual parents. And then a lot of the people I were working with were business owners. And so I just started to see this theme of how that was flowing through to their own life and their employees' lives. And so I thought, well, where could I have the biggest level of impact? And that would be to help people on purpose their life in their business so that they, like me, could have the impact and connection and relationship that they longed and craved for, but had kind of believed couldn't exist anymore.
Absolutely. Now, you said, so many good things in there. Now, so I guess when you were counseling the teens and the kids, what you found out was that the real root source of that problem was the parents, huh?
There was an inherent pace and priority that was within the family system where things were so rigid in terms of these beliefs. I have to do this many activities to be giving my kids the opportunities they need for success, even if the kids were having major meltdowns or be even expressing I get exhausted when I have an activity after school every day. Or it would come down to parents that say I know that this consistency would be really good, but if I do that, I'll lose my job. I won't be able to run my business. Whatever the thing was, these deep belief systems that kept them entrenched in these family systems that just weren't working. And they weren't working for everyone. I was seeing parents that were like, they were just so tired and exhausted, and they loved, like so many of us, they loved desperately their kids, but they felt held captive by the beast of overwhelm and the like busy pace. Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me when you were talking about that of a friend of mine that I had. And she's still a friend. I don't get to see her as much, but boy, she was a very, very busy lady. And when her kids would do something that she didn't really, that made her mad, or they acted out at school or something, she would tell them this all the time. And I would tell her, you can't tell them that. You are stressing me out because I work all these hours so you can have this life. And I'm like, I don't think it's healthy for you to keep telling them that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you said that, I remember, because I saw her do that once, when I was at her house, and it was like, oh, and, her kids stopped dead in their tracks and looked at her and I like, what's about to happen? And so, it's just really, I love that. I love what you do, because what happens is, and I believe, we never start out in that way. I was doing a book review on this book by Marcus Buckingham, Find Your Strongest Life. And so in that book, it's an old book, right? And I thought it was so helpful because it was geared towards women. And so in that book, he said this. He said, women today have more education, more opportunities. They have climbed the corporate ladder. They create more businesses. They do all this great stuff, but they are less happier than they were in the 60s. And I'm like, whoa. And so, and he said that, and he was trying to say, all the statistics showed it just came from all of the things you just talk about, all that stress and overwhelm and all that good stuff. Although they had more, they weren't as happy.
Yeah, well, I just did a live on this the other day with this idea that I think we're told, especially as women, that to be strong, we have to be Wonder Woman. But seriously, Wonder Woman is a superhero. She's not realistic. She doesn't have laundry waiting.
Yes. Yes.
So to have a goal that is based on reality and based on priorities versus this idea that I can and I have to. I think so many of us are told to be a strong and impactful woman, we have to be Wonder Woman. And I don't want to be her. I mean, it's a great movie and a great character and all of those things. Yes. But I am not her, and I can't do everything, and I should let go of that guilt, because the guilt makes me do things that actually don't take me or my people towards the things that we value. And that's the whole point of being on purpose, is you have to know what is important and then let everything else go, because good for them, not for me.
Yes. I love that. Now, when you talk about being on purpose, there's a lot of ways we can do that. I'm thinking, if you just said that to me, I would think there's a lot of ways we could do that, right?
Exactly. It is, being on purpose is all about the process of knowing what you value, what is important to you, and probably to your people, right? Whatever relationships or things that are really valuable in person. But being on purpose is a very individual kind of exercise. And then it is knowing that and then being intentional in that. So it's a two-piece kind of approach to life and to business and to our things. Because everybody's journey to on purpose looks differently, but the result is you then having the life and the impact and the relationships that none of us dreamed when we were little girls of being like overwhelmed and scattered and feeling like we have to-do lists. Like, that's not what we dreamed of when we were little girls. And so like part of it is getting back to, what did you idealize? And then how do you live that realistically and strategically?
That is really, really nice. Now, I'll tell you what, it makes me think of, a few years ago, I decided, it wasn't that I was happy at the time, but I just made a decision to be happy. I just said, I'm just going to be happy. No matter what, I'm going to find the joy in everything, and I'm just going to be happy. And so when you say that, it makes me kind of think of that a little bit, just saying, for no matter where I am at whatever point in life, I'm just going to find the joy in things, and I'm just going to be happy.
Yeah. And there's such power and freedom in that, right? Like, perhaps you weren't where you wanted to be, but you were on the journey there. And so you had to be intentional in those moments, because otherwise the life is always about climbing this mountain or this ladder, and that it's exhausting. We need places of savor and connection built into our path. And so I think that was such a powerful transformation for you, and that you were able to just say, I'm going to decide to be happy. I'm going to see the parts of this current life that are valuable and important and on purpose. And I'm going to push into those, not ignoring the rest, but I'm going to cherish those. And the power and the release that comes from that.
Good. I really like that. Now, when you work, and I know you not only work with women, right? But I'm sure. Yeah. Because they bring, what we do as women, we guilt ourselves. We just feel like it's our responsibility. Like, we take on so much, because not only do we believe, we are Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman has got the lasso and doing the little lasso thing. But so we're doing the little lasso in this hand, and in this hand, we are answering the phone, holding the baby, throwing laundry in the, we're doing it all. We're mopping the floors. We're doing it all. We really think that. And so can you share with my audience some ways, and I know there's a lot of women that are listening that'll be able to relate to this. Can you share with them some ways that you work with your clients to help them relieve some of that? Because I'll tell you, I think of my sister. My sister, we laugh at her and we tease her because we say, here comes Miss OCD. And I know we shouldn't, but we do, because she is just like always moving around. And she's got this vacuum out that she vacuums like 5 times a day, no joke. And it's like, she's just always moving around. It's like, oh my gosh, she's driving me nuts.
But maybe that's her bliss. Maybe that's what she loves. I don't know.
She's complaining the whole time while I can't keep my house clean because oh my gosh. She's like, she's driving me nuts. How do you help women like this? I mean, it's.
Okay, well, first, I think, they have to get to the point where they recognize that that's not the pace that they want. Even if they don't believe there's any other option, they do have to get to the point where they don't want that anymore. And it takes each of us a bit to get there. Our journey there is different. But usually when people start to work with me, they have reached that. They go, I can't do this anymore. I can't stay in this job just because I feel like I have to. I can't end another year in this job with no plan to leave. I have someone, I was just talking to a client the other day, and she was saying, yeah, I've ended this job every year saying by the end of next year. And, I looked at her and I said, how many years have you been saying that? 5 years.
Wow.
And I was like, what is your plan? And she has a plan, but she's scared. The fear is what gets in the way. So when I work with people, obviously we have to address those big barriers. We have to get that. But then when we get down to the nitty gritty, like strategic things, some of the things we look at is especially that idea of, the number one objection people have is like, I don't have the time to figure out what I want. I don't have the time to like change what I'm doing. I'm barely doing it as it is, because it takes time, right?
Yeah.
So like, that's one of the first steps. I said like, okay, let's get back some of your time, because all of us have lost time or time spent doing something that's not helpful. So the strategies I take people through is like, make a schedule and stick to it. Do it. There are different methods. Like I like Trello because I'm a visual person and It's on my phone or on my computer. There's like project management. There's just simple notepads. There's Google Calendar. It doesn't matter how you do it, but if you're going to reclaim your time, you have to know where your time goes now. And then you have to decide if the magic happened and you could clear everything off your schedule, what would go back on it? And so for people, it's like the idea of, okay, how do I get my time back? You have to be realistic. So many of us schedule things and we give ourselves way too little time. We say, oh, I'm going to get the house cleaning done in 30 minutes. But really, when you track it, it takes 2 hours.
Yes.
But we do that. So you either, in that place, you either have to change your standard of what clean is, which is what a lot of us, I think, do. We have to say, like, this is good enough because that's what I can do in 30 minutes and that's how much time I have. And then we let go of the guilt of the other expectation. So that's a strategy, change your standards, give yourself, like, effective scheduling, not just like, oh, yeah, it's all there. And it's like, you're going to go to the grocery store, get your groceries and come home and put it away in 45 minutes. Like, is the grocery store in your backyard? Like, that's the conversation I've had with clients before. But also like looking at, what are those expectations you're putting on yourself as a parent? Like, do you, like, if you're a parent, like not all my clients are, but a lot of them are, do you say, well, I have to have my kids in 5 sports, be on PTA, make all the things for the bake sales, be a class rep, and run a company, and like be like this, the exec over here or whatever you are. Like, I have people that put that level and I'm like, well, yeah, does your kid care if you do all of that? And they're like, I don't know. I've never asked. It's like, well, okay, that's one of the ways you can reclaim time. Ask your kids what are important to them.
Right?
Because there's things that they're going to say, yes, mommy, I really want you to come in 1 time a month to my class. Great. I'm going to figure out how to do that. But, oh, do I need to go? Like, do you want me there like once a week? No, that's okay, mommy. I just want you there like once every once in a while. Or do you care if mommy bakes cupcakes for the school? No, but can we get them from my favorite store?
There you go.
Like, we just saved that time.
Yeah.
So like, just find out, like, that's the guilt we put on ourselves as, busy, successful moms, is we say like, I have to do all these things to be on purpose. And it's like, no, you don't. Like, those things, like, so few of them are. Like, those aren't the moments you connect with your kids. Those are the moments you feel disconnected because you're putting yourself a bunch of shoulds between them and you. So those are like strategies.
And it's like giving yourself, you work with them in a way that's almost like giving them permission to give themselves permission to do something different, to do something that helps them be more connected and to live on purpose.
Yes.
I really, really like that.
Yeah, that empowered mindfulness. I'm a big, like, I love me some science, and like the whole concept of being mindful, like, choosing what we think and then letting go of the other kind of unhelpful thoughts is so like neurologically powerful. Like it actually changes your brain. So like when I first started to hear about it years ago, I was like, oh, that's a lot of woo woo, and I'm not totally woo woo. So I was like, oh, okay. But like when I started to read, and if you're woo woo, I have no problem with that. It's just not. So when I started reading the science, I was like, what? You actually get new neurotransmitters when you do this? Okay. Wow. Okay. This is important.
Wow. Very nice. And so you are actually helping your clients in every aspect of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, you know, when I work with business owners, obviously how they view like structure and how they approach their business and how they reconnect with the visionary and the leader inside of them really does come down to these like on purpose mindfulness piece, because otherwise you lose all of that. But we got to go to the base, and like how we function in our life is also how we function in our business and vice versa. And so for me, I tried to decide, was I going to do life coaching? Was I going to do business coaching? And I like at the end of the day was like, oh, it's the same thing. Like,
yes.
So, you know, that's where my journey ended up where I was at, where it's like, if I ignore one side, I'm not doing my clients service that they really would value from.
Yeah, I can see that, because what you're doing is so much different than what I'm doing. So you know, I'm only concerned with their business piece. So when I see their life is all muddied, I'm like, I know somebody you could talk to, and they can help you with that. Because I can't help. My life is muddied, Naphtali. I'm trying to figure that out.
You're going to give me a call and I'm going to help you with that.
I need help with that. Yes, I do. Because it is not easy. It is not easy by any means. And I do want my audience to hear that. It is not easy by any means to be able to do these things. And a lot of business owners are starting out in their current job and they're doing the business part-time. Well, you don't just have those two things anymore, because you still got the kids and the family and the events. You still got all of this to manage. So it's difficult. It can be very, very difficult.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, like real practically, like, I mean, we even get with my clients, I get real about like, these are strategies I use to try to balance. This is how I, you know, I don't just utilize a to-do list. I call it a to-schedule list. So then I can take from that place and put it on my schedule effectively and with purpose. You know, there's like really specific strategies based on the individual that we look at. We look at, you know, I'm sure that a lot of the work you do, like in terms of making priorities, like what work in your business is important, as opposed to like what can you do later, but not right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, one of the things you said on your website that was really interesting to me, and you said you run 3 businesses. Oh my gosh.
I do. So I have my therapy practice, which I'm still doing. And then I have the life and business coaching business. And then in addition, I co-run with my husband and our business partner a set and design company for the film and TV industry. And so I help. Yeah. So they do all the day-to-day stuff, but I help more with just kind of like the back end stuff and talking strategies. But that's just a fun way to be involved in that as well.
So ladies, I want you to get this, because she is not just talking. She's definitely walking her talk. Because, I mean, on your website, you talk about how much you love this.
I love it.
I am not sure I would own 3 businesses and work in them and love it. Not yet. I like to do a lot of different things, but I'm not sure I could do that. Not quite yet, you know? And so That's really important because you're actually walking that talk, because you have to always be mindful of your life, of all the things that you're doing in your life, to be able to stay grounded, to be able to love all of it. And a lot of times, that's why, there was a period of time in my business that I was falling out of love with it because I was working too much.
That's so many of the people that come to me. Like, they're the people that they are like, I'm making the money. I guess I've made it, but I don't really love it anymore. And so that's so much of that work, is to reclaim that delight that you went into this with, and figure out what's pulling you out of that space. I have days where I'm like, oh, this feels overwhelming. And that's a really big sign for me to say, okay, something's out of alignment here. I'm either putting too much pressure on myself. I don't have a strategy in place for something. So then it's not happening effectively. I'm having to think through something that should just happen automatically. So there's a series, there's questions that I kind of walk myself through when I go, I'm not really looking forward to doing this today. But otherwise, yeah, I love the impact I get to have, because I mean, when I was a little girl, I dreamed of impact and connection. Like, if you look at my games I was play as a little girl, or the lists I would make about my future, they would all have to do about creating impact in the world and connecting. Like, I was like the biggest Barbie player ever, because I could make stories and I could change, I could strategize, and so that's, for me, I learned that business and helping other people like this is this creative activity for me. And I'm not I cannot do the drawing or anything. Like, my husband does all the art projects with the kids, because that's his gig. That's what he loves. But I love taking the pieces and making them into this beautiful story of an on-purpose life and business.
Very nice. You keep mentioning, I've got to touch on this, because you keep mentioning about when we were children. You keep talking about that. And that was a part of the reason I decided to be happy, because when I was a child, I would make, no matter what, we grew up in the country. I grew up in the country, poor, within a large family, but no matter what, I could escape the rest of my brothers and sisters, and I was the youngest, so it was easy for me to escape. And so I would make my own happiness, and I would read books and go places in my mind, and they would look at me and they would say, why are you laughing? Why are you so happy? And it was and I love to laugh. I love to laugh, and I love to be happy as a child. And they could never understand it. It's that book is not that good, So it's so why do you keep mentioning going back to where you were as a child?
I think there's a beauty in most of our childhood and a clarity about what we love. And if we can just understand, not that I loved the color pink and I played with My Little Ponies, but below that, what were those happy moments, and going deeper into that, I think it gives us so much clarity before the world got busy and sad and overwhelming. It gives us so much clarity what we love. And so whenever I get off kilter, I try to remember, who was Naphtali as a little kid? What does she love? And before she learned that these were the shoulds, what was the clarity point there? And how do you live in a grown-up way, but live that truth of who you were? I always think of my husband in terms of so he builds and creates sets, and he's an art director. And I think about the fact that when he was little, he loved playing Legos. He loved creating stories in his mind. And so he really is, as he gets to do the thing that he loves, it was finding the grown-up version of what he loved as a child. And like, he did other things before. And before he like kind of took that and was like, no, how could I live that? And then he wasn't as happy and he wasn't as at peace in his job and his work. And so like, I think about that for all of us. If we could get clarity on that, I think we would just be so much more on purpose and like feel that peace and that confidence.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. So Naphtali has a two-step process that you use to reclaim your time with, and this is a program that you use with your clients. You walk them through the step, and that's a huge, ladies, I want you to listen, because when you are overwhelmed and you are running around in circles and you just don't know what to do, Naphtali has the answer for you. She really does. Don't you?
I do. No, this was exactly like the two-step process, and it really is a two-step process that I'm going to have you go through over and over and over again until it becomes so kind of ingrained in your mind that it's just instinctual. We've lost our wisdom and our instinct about how to reclaim our time, and so we have to relearn it. And so it's a two-step process. It's also included in there a bonus audio, which is just like this way of being mindful and setting an intention for the day in terms of reclaiming your time and not be reactive in your scheduling. And so, yeah, I provide that and some ways to use it, and then actually take people through kind of a few days of like, okay, when this happens, how are you going to use it now? And yeah, I love it, and my clients love it. And from that, once they get that step, like so many other things fall into place, because once you've reclaimed your time, you really do start to see with more clarity your value, your confidence, all the other reasons people come to me. Like really, I kept finding out like how they spent their time and what they believed about their time was the base. It was like that core. And we couldn't do anything else without that. And so I created this just because I thought, if I was going to impact the world in one way, what would it be? It would be to give people the belief and the understanding that they have more time than they feel like they do.
That is nice. Oh, wow. You got my head spinning on that, because I'll tell you, there are days when I lose my control of time. And I want you to notice, I try to control time. And so I lose control of that. And I just say, all right, my day is done. I'm done for the day. I want to jump back in the bed, put the cover over my head. I'm done. Because it's like, now I have no clarity. I'm confused. I don't know what to do now, because I just, I've lost control of it.
Yeah. So when you go on, because you're going to go on and download my thing, when you go do that, then I think email 2 or 3 that you'll get will actually talk about like, what do you do when everything falls apart? Like, because obviously we all have days that like the ideal schedule we've set for ourselves doesn't happen. So what then? So yeah, once you get to that, I want you to send me an email and tell me like what you're going to do differently.
Okay, I will. I'm so looking forward to that. Thank you so much for coming today. Ladies, listen, I will put all of Naphtali's information on my website on the podcast page, and you will be able to find her on Facebook, on Instagram, on her website, NaphtaliRoberts.com, and on LinkedIn. And please reach out to her. If you are struggling with the simple thing of, I don't have enough time in one day, she can help you. She can help you. And she's got a wonderful free gift for you. I'm going to download that free gift. I'm going to walk through it. I'm going to send her an email. Naphtali, we're about to end. I want to ask you one final question.
Go for it.
All right. if you can leave my audience today with one action tip, one thing they could do right now today to help improve their lives, what would it be?
Stop procrastinating. And if you find yourself procrastinating, notice what you're procrastinating about and then figure out why that thing keeps tripping you up. I think that is like, we don't ask ourselves the question about the procrastination and then we keep doing it over and over again. So stop, notice, and then stop doing it. Because otherwise, like, it's just going to keep getting in your way.
You're right. Oh my gosh. You're so right. I'm thinking about something. When you said that, I'm thinking about something I'm procrastinating about right now. And the minute you said, ask yourself why you're procrastinating, I did that in my mind, and my mind said, because you're scared.
Mm-hmm.
You're just scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining me here. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I have so enjoyed myself, and I look forward to hearing. Please, guys, send me emails or messages. I love responding to people and being a help in any way that is impactful.
Nice. Very nice. Please do. So this is our episode of Bye Bye 9 to 5. I look forward to the next one. Please like, subscribe, or comment to the episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
This episode of the Bye Bye 9 to 5 podcast has ended, but it doesn't stop there. Be sure to subscribe for more strategies and advice to help you move from employee to escapepreneur, to have the kind of success you have always dreamed of without sacrificing family or time. And don't forget to rate and review us so we can continue to bring you the best content possible to motivate and encourage you on this journey. See you on the next episode.